It is time for Touch Base in Seoul, and we have a variety of guests coming in, and we're very pleased this time around to have a distinguished guest who is sort of an in-house dignitary. He is Yoel Levi, the conductor of the KBS Symphony Orchestra, joining us here in the studio. We're going to hear about his thoughts on the orchestra as well as his life and background, inspiring us all with his story. Mr. Levi, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Well, we know that you've been on the job for, I suppose now we're getting close to over 3 years, 4 years. You were first appointed in January 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's exactly 4 years.
Exactly 4 years, and you are here for, I guess the good news, at least one more year, right? Through 2019. Two more. 2 more years. So that's even better news. I think the main question a lot of people will have is your journey that led you ultimately to become the conductor of KBS Symphony Orchestra.
Well, the journey is a very long journey, but maybe we can be more specific about KBS because I conducted KBS the first time really 20 years ago. And so on and off, I conducted the orchestra several times in the past, over the past 20 years. So I got to know many members. And so they got to know me, and one thing led to the next. And they offered me to come here, and I thought it was the right time and with the right potential to turn things around here and to create something very special.
And we will get more specific, of course, in terms of your efforts to turn things around, as you said, for the KBS Symphony Orchestra. But in terms of, I suppose, your career and as a maestro, a conductor, just from someone who has studied music in college myself, I know that it is such a challenging and difficult task to be able to lead a symphony, lead an orchestra or a chorus or what have you. What do you think is sort of the core skills to become a brilliant conductor?
Well, I think the list is very long.
Yeah.
Of qualities that you need. Of course, you need to have incredible good set of ears. You have to have a very good technique to be able to communicate with the musicians. You have to have incredible knowledge of the repertoire, and you have to have special skills of communicating and having the vision of sound and what kind of sound you want to create with the orchestra and how do you create that sound. So there are so many different elements that you need to become a professional conductor that it's a very long list. And of course, there are many things that comes with experience, that you have done it for so many decades, and you just know exactly what to do and how to do it and how to make the orchestra sound better.
It is very uniquely stylistic, is it not? Because for the layperson, you see a conductor leading an orchestra, and some are much more demonstrative, right? Very big motions with their body and their facial expressions, and others are just almost kind of stoic and just barely moving their baton with their fingers. That being said, though, those unique stylistic differences really is what I suppose when a listener or an audience member listens to, they can appreciate the finer points of that one particular conductor, right?
Right. There is a visual point and there is a audio point.
Right.
The bottom line, of course, is the results of what's happening. And of course, for the audience, it's nice if someone is really not totally cold and frozen on stage. So I think what is important is that a musician is really, a conductor, is totally immersed and involved in the music that he's making, and that he just totally forget about everything and concentrate only about the music and the orchestra members and be part of that spectrum. And that's what I'm trying to do.
When we talk about that being immersed in the music, and you say the most important thing is, of course, the output, the quality of the music that comes out. And when you had your experience here in KBS and even wider in Korea and the rest of the world, would you say that it is a universal language, or are there cultural nuances involved with, let's say, leading a Korean orchestra or leading an orchestra from France or Israel?
Well, generally speaking, it is a universal language. Saying that, there is still some cultural differences between different countries. Yeah. And, different cultures react in different way to different music making. I think my role as a conductor is to adjust to every culture and to bring them to the level and the style that they're supposed to play these masterpieces. And when we are talking about certain masterpieces, yes, there could be different tastes how to do certain things. Nevertheless, when you want a very high level, there are no shortcuts, and everyone knows what it means to have a high level of an orchestra.
Let's talk about the KBS Symphony Orchestra. You were asked to come in and perhaps turn things around. Can you just go throughout this journey of 4 years in 2014, what you found when you came in here and how things have evolved over the last 4 years?
Well, when I came here, I came at a very, very difficult time for the KBS Orchestra. They came after some very, as everyone knows, difficult labor dispute and artistic dispute, and it was a very challenging period. They lost the public, they lost the media, they lost many things. So I had really basically turned things around, install the confidence of the public in KBS, the media in KBS, and also to give my musical direction to the orchestra and to work with them very hard, in a nice way, of course, but very hard to be able to reach the next level, and the level that KBS used to play. And so also now, after 4 years, I have to tell you, now also we have about, I don't know, over 30 new musicians in the orchestra. And some retired, some left for different reasons. And overall, the orchestra is really in a superb shape. And for many people, today they consider it the best orchestra in Korea.
Wow. The one highlight I would like you to maybe help promote as well as talk about the New Year's concert for Thursday, January 18th. It's a big deal. Can you just tell us a little bit about it and how the preparations are coming?
Well, it's always a big deal when you start a new year.
Yeah.
And it's always a positive time. It's a great pleasure to welcome everyone for the new year. And we are going to prepare a beautiful program, variety with two wonderful singers, and they are going to sing some of the favorites. And then we are going to do a lot of Strauss pieces, some of the truly favorite. So it will be a evening of total relaxing and enjoying it for everyone that's going to be there.
It's going to be a relaxing, enjoyable time. We do hope that, of course, as you say, 2 more years through the end of 2019, you also have a, maybe not relaxing, but an enjoyable time for the next 2 years as the conductor of the KBS Symphony Orchestra. What do you hope to further accomplish during the remaining tenure?
This is a process that all the time, we searching for the next level, and we still auditioning musicians that we are missing in certain positions. And even once we find the musicians, some of them are very young, and it takes time to, as we say, to mold them into the orchestra and make them aware of certain styles, the way the orchestra performs, and what level they're supposed to be prepared. And all this takes time. So we still have a lot of work cut for us to do in the next 2 years, and who knows what will be after that.
Well, 2 years does seem like a long time away, but as we know, time sometimes just really flies, especially when you're quite busy and a lot of things are going on. I know that, of course, you will move on to the next chapter of your life, but as a veteran in this industry, we're wondering, because we know Korean students and even our audience around the world, a lot of them are inspired by being involved in classical music, whether it is as a musician, a singer, or as a conductor. Do you have any advice for anybody who is young, not established yet, but would like to follow in your footsteps and become a successful conductor?
Well, I'm not sure there is a certain formula how to do it. You need to be exposed to a lot of different kinds of music. You need to have a knowledge of a lot of composers, and you need to learn a lot. And the more you learn, the more you go to concerts, to rehearsals, to observe other conductors, other soloists, other singers. You need to learn from every person that you meet. And that's the only way to develop yourself and to reach a certain level.
Well, it's great advice indeed. We do want to thank you, despite your busy schedule, although it wasn't too far a walk to get over here, but we nonetheless enjoy the time that you've shared with us. We are looking forward to this great concert on January 18th. And Mr. Levi, thank you so much and best of luck to you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.